Looks like we are live. Good evening, afternoon for everybody listening from anywhere around the world. And today is New Year's Eve right here in the United States. We are in Houston, Texas, ladies and gentlemen, and I am pleased to be live with you today. We skipped Christmas Eve last week because I know most of you were probably hanging out with the family, doing some final, last minute shopping. New Year's Eve right here. Apologize for some technical difficulties here. I am working on making things better for us here. Just a second. Okay, fantastic. So it looks like we're still live. So let me start over again. Okay. My name is George Salas, and I'm your host today. We are live right here in our YouTube channel, and we love short-term rentals. We love to say that we love high-performing short-term rentals that create more cash flow, and we are right here every single week to give you some love, to show you what we do. And today, the lessons will be a little different. The lessons will be pertaining my personal experiences in 2024 that will change and transform your 2025. So get ready to take notes, folks, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show today, right here, December 31st. 2024 is the day before the new year. And we are all excited that there's a new year, there's a new chance, an opportunity to become that best version of yourself, right? To improve your health, your life, and every part of your living, your soul, right? And to get better at whatever you do in the world to make an impact. So again, I want to say, welcome to the show again. I'm super excited to talk to you about today. So for us, 2024 was a year of massive growth in infrastructure build. I want to call it infrastructure build out. Okay. So, and today you're going to be learning the 5 lessons that I've personally lived this year. And cool. Why don't we just kick it off right away, folks? We're going to make today short because I know you actually want to be with your family and go along with your New Year's Eve plans. So we're going to kick it off with lesson number 1. Okay. So lesson number 1 for me was a big one, right? Patience pays off. Most of us want things to happen right away and immediately, right? And then sometimes what happens when you want things to happen immediately, you rush and make decisions and you make the wrong decisions, right? As most of us, I am very, very, very want things to get done quickly. And this year, thanks to 2 beautiful things, I have learned to be even more patient. Number 1 is my son has taught me to be patient, way more patient than ever before, right? So I'm sure if you have a little one out there, please share what is some of that waiting game, right? Waiting moment this year that you've been waiting for, whether it's personal or business, right? For me, that's one of the reasons why I've become more patient. Now, what did I do with that patience? Right. Well, number 1, the patience has taught me to wait, and the waiting game sometimes is longer. And the biggest lesson here is our business is taking a lot longer to scale, right? So many of you already know, we launched a private equity real estate fund this year in 2024. It was more towards February or March where we had it finished, and we started marketing and promoting our not the first round because we hadn't had a property acquired at the moment, but we started just marketing the fund and getting people on board. And it wasn't until midsummer, like June-ish, that we literally started negotiating and doing due diligence in our first portfolio. And by mid to end of August, we acquired the contract. We secured this contract for this portfolio, and it's 18 properties in St. Louis, right? And then throughout this whole entire last quarter of the year, we started preparing the race and the assets and building the pitch deck and building, the teams and building the back end and building the investor portal, and I thought this maybe would be like a 30-day thing, but it ended up being more than a 2-month thing. And a lot of the things that we had to build, I thought we had them, but we didn't, right? We had to redo the entire deck. We had to redo all the marketing material. Like we had to go and do due diligence and fly out to St. Louis, right? So that we can do some due diligence in this portfolio. So we launched our race in the middle of November, right? So the game is waiting. And this is the lesson. Things are going to be much harder. They're going to take 10 times more the effort, 10 times more the patience, 10 times more the money, 10 times more the skills. So be prepared for 2025, because whatever you do, expect it to take longer. Even if you execute fast, which I love the Tony Robbins massive action. I'm all about massive action, but within that massive action, sometimes things happen, right? And if you're a business owner, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So things are going to take longer, and it's going to be more difficult than you expect. It's going to be harder. It's going to be way, way longer. So patience is key, right? So delays show, in everything that you do. In real success takes time, right? So again, we've got our first portfolio under contract finally. We're super engaged and super glad we're going through a race. And I'm going to talk about, how we did this whole deal with you. Okay. So now if you are on the other side of the screen today, let me know, what is that one thing? What is that waiting game you've had this year, right? Comment wherever you are, because we are live streaming this. And if you are watching the replay, also let us know, what is that moment you've been waiting for this year that has not happened yet? Okay. That's my lesson number 1. Lesson number 2 is think bigger and work smarter. Okay. Man, I cannot tell you, right? So I'm going to plug in a book, right, from a coach out there, a mentor, a business owner, just like ourselves, right? And his name is Dan Sullivan and Benjamin Hardy. So it's 2 guys, Dr. Benjamin Hardy, that created this book, this series of books, and then 2 of them made the biggest impact for me this year in 2024, right? One of them is Who Not How, and the other book's called 10x is easier than 2x. So the Who Not How applies to the lesson number 3. So I'm going to talk about the book 10x is easier than 2x right now, right? And the whole concept is doing something that is much bigger and with less effort is going to produce more results, because you're putting less effort. So now you have output for 2, 3, 4 times the effort in other things, So for me was, okay, how do I create more impact, more cash flow, more properties, more deals without doing more work or 10 times the work, right? This is not your typical Grant Cardone 10x, which that philosophy is like, do more, do more, do more, do more. That applies to people that are maybe just getting started. And when I was getting started, I was just doing more, 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 because I was getting better at my craft. Today, my philosophy is do less, 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 but get more, get the better out and bigger outcome. So the biggest difference for me was doing 10 deals in 2023. 10 projects in 2023, and literally spending hundreds, if not thousands of hours doing each deal. And literally in 2024, we are at 2 deals. One of them is equivalent to our entire portfolio, okay? Is a 12.5 million portfolio. We have a little bit below a $9 million personal portfolio, and it fluctuates obviously. When you acquire property, you go up and down, and when you sell one, we're selling a couple here. That was the biggest lesson. I did 10 times the work. And in 2024, right, I am doing 80% less work. And I'm going to tell you why and how. And the amount of impact that we're creating for our family, right? The amount of money that we're making from these deals, right? The amount of assets that we are acquiring are way more, right? So in 2 projects, we are around $14 million, right? And then last year in 10 projects, we acquired about maybe $4 to $5 million of real estate, right? So it's incredible when you focus on creating projects or doing deals or working on things that create a bigger impact. And at some point, you've got to realize what moves the needle for you and your business. Okay. And this $12.5 million short-term rental portfolio in St. Louis is moving the needle for us. And we have an additional small project that we're doing. It's a $1.5 million project. Really cool project. I'm not going to reveal it yet, but it's only our second project. $14 million in real estate assets being acquired as we speak. Okay, versus 4. So 3.5 times the real estate, right? Money wise, oh my goodness, probably 10 to 15 times. Okay. So always realize, right? If you recognize something that creates more impact, right? And then you are willing to execute and go at that project, it's a game changer for you. It's a game changer for your family, your life, your business, right? This morning, we were having one of our ex-clients reached out to me personally and said, "Hey, George, we are thinking about acquiring this property. Do you know anyone that could help out finding this property?" And I said, "Yes, Mona can help you guys. My wife, she is a licensed real estate here in Texas, a real estate agent in Texas. So she's been finding them a property, and then their financing fell through last minute as of like yesterday. So I got on a call with them this morning, and I was like, look, guys, here's the impact you are going to make, right? And then here's the impact you could have made, right? And it was 6, 7, 8 times more if you just pivoted a few things, right? So for them, it was maybe where they pivoted the application of funds, right? Where their money went, right? And what type of property they acquired, or what amenities, right? What area, what price point. So like just a few things sometimes make the biggest difference, right? You've got to think about what are the little details that affect or change the outcome drastically, and realize like, hey, what if I do more of those little details? What if I make more of those changes? How will that impact my life next year or next quarter or next month, right? So how will that change everything I'm doing today? So that lesson for me was so powerful. And this has been like an ongoing lesson, folks, between 2023 and 2024, right? As we scale our business, our lives, and our impact, right? I am big about impact. I know I keep mentioning impact, and sometimes I don't talk about it enough, right? For us, our mission is to help 1 million real estate investors achieve financial freedom through experiential short-term rentals. And that's what we do. We help our investors acquire high-performing, cash-flowing short-term rentals with less effort, right? So I have applied the 10x is easier than 2x concept to my entire business, to our personal portfolio, to how I work with clients, to how we work with investors and partners. So that is making a huge change for us. So let it macerate. Read, listen to that book over and over. And if you're not there yet, you can apply a little bit of it. You don't necessarily need to implement the whole entire strategy, right? So the whole entire concept for everything in your business or everything in your life, you can start with small changes. Okay. So lesson number 3, find the right people. Okay. So I am part of a mastermind in which I have gained a ton of influence. I have received a ton of impact, and I have given a ton of impact. It's called Raise Masters, right? And our mentor there, Hunter Thompson, which I'm going to credit for the group that he's built that has made a huge change in my life and my business, right? So in that book, I first heard of the book Who Not How, and I wasn't a huge fan of Dan Sullivan and Ben Hardy, but I went through that book several times, and this lesson, finding the right people, right, it was exactly who, not how. What we were missing in our business was the who, not how. There's always someone else that loves doing what you hate or you're not good at. They are out there. And finding those people, that's the entire concept that I'm talking to you about. It's a mindset, right? So anything I do now, I think of how can I collaborate? How can I find someone that is better than me at this one thing, right? So rather than me doing it alone, I am a collaborator, right? I have my spirit of collaboration has just exponentially grown, right? And because of how I think now, I've been able to partner with many people. Like I have developed about 9 different partnerships in the last year and a half alone. These are, I'm going to give you some examples here. So these are, I've been able to find an investment partner, right, that is going to help and it'll allow me to be the growth driver of our private equity company, Empress Capital. I've been able to find a operating partner is going to help us operate the back end of the business, right? And we've developed that relationship over the last year and a half. Now we've got a full-fledged experienced team with 25 to 30 years of experience in operating real estate and short-term rentals, right? So now we can scale. And it was all because of like who, not how, like who is out there that could help me instead of me trying to learn how to run the back end of the business, and on the investment side, it wasn't more like me wanting to learn. It was me stepping out of that, right? So that I could focus on driving the growth of our business, right? So I've been able to find a capital partner that is currently helping us raise the $10 million for this fund. Right? I've been able to find a fund manager recruiter. Excuse me. And what that means in our fund, we work with fund managers or capital raisers who essentially have have raised capital right before minimum of $500,000. They have not been able to develop the systems to scale, but they want to raise more, but they don't want to manage the real estate. So we come in, we plug in all of our systems. And essentially, this is not something I market to. This is everything that we do here is by referral only for that particular thing as we build our fund, right? So I'm still investing in short-term rentals. I'm still looking at all the deals. We're still manage, a $10 million portfolio with my wife, right? So we personally manage. I still look at the numbers every month, right? This is the growth, the scalability of what we're doing. Just to give you guys a little bit of context here so you don't think, what is a fund manager, right? It's part of the vehicle we've built to be able to grow, right? So now if you are out there, and you're one person who could, help other people get to their goals, or you have someone you want to refer, think, right, of who can I refer to this other person, be of value to them, or you're looking for a type of resource, or who can I find that could help me do XYZ? Feel free to drop that in the comments here, and I'll be happy to share, and someone also will be if I don't have that resource. So that is a very, very key component of our growth, finding the right people. Lesson number 3. Okay. Lesson number 4, what happens after you find them, right? For me, this year has also been the concept, the philosophy of teamwork makes the dream work, right? This lesson was named Teamwork is the Secret Sauce, right? So now what happens after you find these partners? Well, these partnerships now become the foundation for scaling. because sometimes if you're going to launch a company, it is very difficult. It takes tons of resources and a lot more effort and work that you would think to build anything from scratch. And this whole entire time, I have always, okay, how do I build this? How do I get this person? I've always thought how. Now my thinking goes to who. And here's the next thinking, even for us. As we built our own property management company, now my who is who has that scaled property management company that's maybe managing 100 properties, 200 properties, and making X amount of profits. And then who is managing, who owns that business? That's the one, the who I'm trying to find for 2025. Our goal for 2025 is to buy a property management company and merge ours with theirs, right? And basically create a way more scalable property management company that is nationwide. And now we can jump in and do fairly any city that we want to, right? So rather than scaling it from, 30, 40 properties to 100 to 200, that is a lot of work, right? For us is who has got that deal? Who's got that property? So, hey, now teamwork. Let's talk about more teamwork, right? When you leverage your team, the expertise, these are strengths that you might not have, or strengths that you are good at, but someone else is way better, right? So leveraging networks, leveraging databases, right? Leveraging other people's expertise, all that creates faster results, faster outcomes, right? So I know it's very difficult, and I completely understand it's very difficult to create partnerships. But when you know what you want and you develop that vision and you have a plan, right? And you have the track record, and this is another, I'll give you a bonus lesson. You have the skills that are so good that these people that you're seeking out can't ignore you, right? Now you first got to develop those skills, obviously, right? You got to get really good at what you do. Okay. So that's bonus for today. Okay. So that's it. That's the lesson right there, right? So I have a deep appreciation for my partner. And if you are one of my partners and you are listening out there today, I love you. I appreciate everything you have done with us and for us, and I am here for you. Okay. So I appreciate our team members, appreciate everybody in my team. I am grateful for this 2024, and I am super excited for 2025, right? So, and if you're watching out there, listening to me, just, jive about 2024 and this lessons, uh, let me know who are some potential collaborators. Who do you think would be a great collaborator for us, right? With us. Who do you think could be a person you could refer to us? We love referrals, right? If you know us, you understand, you've been there, you know what we do, you know that we come in with full excellence and integrity. Excellence is my number one core value, along with integrity, number two, and then actually number zero before that is growth and learning. Growth and learning for us has been the magic sauce, right? And our fourth one is teamwork makes the dream work, right? I'm literally sharing here what our core values. These are the things I live by every day. Okay. So if you find somebody out there that could potentially be a great partner, great investor, great referral that we could help, please feel free to share, right? Help them achieve their goals in 2025, right? And all right, folks, we're coming down to lesson number 5. Lesson number 5. Wow, this one is a powerful. Act like your future self. I am future pacing this lesson because based on the lessons of this year and based on my thinking and the philosophies I've had, I have improved a ton over the years. I became an entrepreneur like 2015. I was a solopreneur all the way to maybe like 2020, right? So 2019, and I started building a team in 2019, so for me, right, acting like my future self has always been very difficult. I've always seen the future. Like I'm a visionary myself. Like I could see what it will look like if this, if we built this thing or we built this business or we did this. But acting and making decisions every day was always difficult. And for me, I have been working on acting like my future self, right? So, and how do you do that, right? You do that in many ways. For example, asking yourself daily, right? What would my 5 years from now self do today? What could I be doing today, right? What could I plan out for 2025? What does it look like, right? 3 years from now. So, and then just to give you a breakdown of exactly how to create in maybe 30 seconds is creating a 3-year plan, breaking that down in years and break it down in quarters, right? So you've got a 3-year plan. What is your life, your business, your health looks like, whatever you want to work on in 3 years, right? And then break that down sort of per year. And obviously you can break it down in chunks like, hey, next year I'm going to work on this. This year I'm going to work on this. This year I worked on 10xing my health. This year I worked on 10xing my marriage. This year I worked on building infrastructure for scalability, and it happened, right? So now I am working on my 2025 goals, right? So act like your future self by asking yourself, by planning ahead, by creating the vision of what it looks like, being yourself 3 years from now, 12 months from now, 2 years from now. All right. So, okay, and that's 5 lessons, folks. Now here's a bonus lesson. Okay. Be so good at what you do, they can't ignore you. Okay. When I went in and I started searching for partners, right, and figuring out how to build a fund and putting together more scalable structures, people all ask me at first sight, like, what is it that you do? How long you've been doing it, right? And then if I hadn't been doing this and been so good, then they would have ignored me, meaning that I built a tracker and I became so good at creating beautiful, cash flowing, high performing short-term rentals, right? That people did not pass through that opportunity. So I was able to develop through meetings, through relationships, through building rapport, right? I was able to develop these partnerships. And that does not happen when you are a beginner, right? So I read a book by Cal Newport. It's called So Good They Can't Ignore You. And it's about building skills in one area rather than switching, changing careers, right? Changing the things that you do all the time, right? So if you become so good and then you progressively evolve into being that future self, right? Developing one or two niche skills, right, will help you more than being a trade of different, like maybe a jack of different 4 or 5 trades, right? Be so good at one or two things that they notice, right? They cannot ignore you. So that has been our lessons. So 5 lessons engaging from, I'm going to repeat these today. Lesson number 1, patience pays off. Lesson number 2, think bigger, work smarter. 10x is easier than 2x. Lesson number 3 is finding the right people, who, not how, right? Lesson number 4 is teamwork makes the dream work, right? I didn't plug in a book for that, but I that's my goal next year. As I build this, I will be going in deeper into developing teams, right? So the evolution of the entrepreneurship, right? So lesson number 5, act like your future self. And lesson number 6, be so good they can't ignore you. So folks, it's been a pleasure here today in the last 30 minutes being with you today. Have a happy new year and just always be there, right? Present. So if you're here, be present, right? Be there for yourself. 2025 is going to be a great year. Stay positive, right? And please feel free to reach out if you need or have any questions or want our help, right? We are here to help you create high performing properties and through experiential short-term rentals. Yeah, we'll see you in 2025.